All right, welcome back to the Carl Jackson Show, your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. Guys, I want to talk about the economy, how Biden has been lying to you. I want to talk about Minnewasawa. All right, I know that sounds crazy, Minnewasawa. This is a great column that I saw in 2024 leading up to the debates and some of the states that Trump could potentially win and what's happening there, but particularly Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Iowa. So I want to dive into that. Also, the U.S. Supreme Court still has 6 blockbuster rulings to issue. This is actually the second podcast that we're popping out tonight because I will be covering the debates or covering pre and post debate coverage with Andrew Wilkow, the Salem News Channel. So I'm going to be looking forward to that. So we're recording a couple of podcasts now because I will not be able to in the next couple of days. But unless something major happens, we'll pipe back in. But I believe these stories will be still relevant. So we'll talk about the economy. But I do want to play this for you, too. This is absolutely sickening. This is Nickelodeon. This is video clip number 2, Gabe, if you can get this ready. I just want you to see, this because I want you to understand what we're up against when it comes to the Biden administration, when it comes to the left, and all of these people that are running our federal government, not all of them, but many of them that are absolute leftists. And I want you to understand what they're doing to us, what they're doing to our children. They are trying to fundamentally transform America. And I want you to watch this Nickelodeon video because I'm going to tell you what this is about. Years ago, I did a show how the left was making new heroes. Little did I know how correct I was. I thought I was just coming up with some novel, some hot take, if you will, at the time. Little did I know the left was literally practicing to fundamentally transform America in a way where transgenders, and this is what I talked about at the time, how they were trying to make transgenders the new heroes as opposed to soldiers. Dang, was I right. Video clip number 2, por favor, Gabe.
Doesn't it just fill you with pride, showing who you are on the inside? Wave that pride flag up high, be true to you. Show your pride, wave those flags, everybody. Here we go. Red like orange, healing yellow is sunlight, green nature, blue harmony, purple is spirit, baby blue, pink and white represent transgender people, and black and brown represent the queer and trans people of color.
First off, you don't want to get on Homeboy's bad side because Homeboy looks like he could do some damage if you say the wrong thing to him. You know what I'm saying? All right, so here's a grown behind man that's dressed like a woman that's trying to share with your kids the colors of the rainbow being the LGBTQ barbecue community. Why are they doing this? The answer is simple. The answer is simple. Listen, if you had a country full of gays, let's just be real, all right? Heterosexual relationships are superior. This isn't knocking gays. It's just a fact. They're superior because if a man and woman get together, what can we do? We can produce children. Gays can't do that. And so what are they going to do, right? They want to abort their children, right? But they want to indoctrinate yours because they can't reproduce. So this is just absolutely sickening. This is what you're fighting against. This is what you're voting for. I'm telling Trump supporters, listen, you're going to come across people that are going to vote for Trump because they're sick of Biden. But you're going to run across undecideds, perhaps. You're going to run across independents, and you're going to have to start making moral issues. Are you sick and tired of this type of crap? Are you sick and tired of your kids being indoctrinated and brainwashed? This new morality that tells them a grown behind man can dress like a woman, and that's something to celebrate, rather than our kids going to school and just doing reading, writing, and the arithmetic. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. So they're destroying the culture. That's one of the things that they're doing now. The economy too. These are some of the things they have to do to take it down. Let's watch another one. This is video clip number 4. Let's run this real quick. This is drag queen Bridget Bandit tell CNN it's very scary for queer people to exist in a time where we see this kind of rhetoric being pushed by our lawmakers. Oh my goodness. All right, video clip number, what was that, Gabe? Oh, man, I'm sorry. That was 3. Video clip 3. Look at this.
I'm
Thank you so
curious
much.
for you, first of all, what this day means to you, and second of all, have both Democrats and Republicans agreed to meet with you?
Yes, we will be meeting with both Democrats and Republicans. And I'm really excited to go speak with all of our lawmakers about the attacks that we're seeing on our LGBTQ community. It's so important to talk about and to discuss protections for our queer community.
Can I let you listen to the current sentiment that's being shared by former President Donald Trump, who, of course, is running for re-election? Here it is.
We're going to take care of our capital. On day one, I will sign a new executive order to cut federal funding of any school pushing critical race theory, transgender insanity, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content onto the lives of our children.
In those three things, he mentions what he calls transgender insanity. If he's voted in as the next president, what will that mean to you?
We already see so many attacks on our queer community. I already don't feel safe in my own hometown, just dressed in drag like this. And it's very scary for queer people to exist in a time where we see this kind of rhetoric being pushed by our lawmakers and the people who should care about other issues that actually affect the American people, other than attacking our community, our LGBTQIA plus community. It's very disappointing, and I hope for better for our country.
Okay, this guy's a clown, and you know what's even more disturbing, or just as disturbing? That guy was being interviewed by a woman. You catch that? I know I'm talking silly here. Just simple. The fact that that lady would honor that dude as a woman is insane to me. I mean, these guys, this community has succeeded, and literally, I mean, this is like 1984 stuff. 2 + 2 = 5. They've succeeded. This lady is bowing down and falling for this stuff. Dude, you got a mental disorder. I remember the days back in the day when I used to go clubbing like a mug, man. Just straight up saying, I'm not going to lie. I used to go clubbing. You would see drag queens in there. But you know what? They were dudes. Sometimes you would see them afterwards and they would, take off their costumes and all this kind of stuff. You see them all walking around or whatever. But in the club, they would just have fun. It was understood that they were drag queens. They weren't trying to indoctrinate children. They weren't trying to get into schools. It was like, no, this is what we do. This is our thing. We're doing it as adults in a club or whatever when we go out. But now it's like, no, they want to make this stuff mainstream and they want you to celebrate it. You better believe it. It's moral. It's this new morality. This is why it's so important for the church to be able to step up and say, nah, we're not tolerating this stuff. And so I'm glad Trump is saying that. Lord willing, he does get in and absolutely sticks to that. White House press secretary on the presidential debate. Let's run this one real quick. I'll talk about that again real quick. I mentioned how Trump needs to be in the upcoming debate. It's not just about policy. It's about decency. I think plenty of people are tired of suffering under this Biden administration and all of his commie cronies inside of that White House. And they ultimately want to be rid of this guy, but they don't necessarily want to go to Trump. But if they see a decent Trump, I think they'll go that way. So video clip number 4, por favor, Gabe.
So yes, eggs and milk, and there were grocery things that were up. It has gone down. It has gone down since 2022. Gas prices, because of the actions that this president took, and let's not forget there was an invasion, but Russia did obviously into Ukraine that caused gas prices to tick up. The president took action, tapped the SPR, and we saw gas prices go down. The president has met the moment with every issue that we have had in front of us.
Wow. Gas prices have gone down. According to Karine Jean-Pierre. So they're lying to you right in front of your face. I guess they don't suspect that after they see that video clip that you'll pull up to a gas station or you'll go to a grocery store only to find out that, wait a minute. Things aren't so affordable. Here's another clip. This is Janet Yellen. This is basically the deep state. All of these fools are in on it. Here you have Janet Yellen lying through her teeth in an interview. Treasury Secretary, no silver bullet to combat housing affordability. It's just insane. So let's play that, please, Gabe. This is video clip number 6.
Secretary Yellen, have you been to the grocery store lately?
I sure have. I go every week.
It's sticker shock, isn't it?
No.
I just, when you look at shipping costs, those have come down. Global food commodity prices have also come down, but food prices still remain high. I know they're not rising at the rate that they were last year, but they're still up 20% from pre-COVID.
Okay. So that's was that it for that clip? She basically. Okay, so basically, she blames this stuff on Trump, is what she does. I mean, it's absolutely amazing to me what these people will do and what they'll say and just lie in front of your face. So the economy is Trump's fault. I'm glad that lady was willing to question her. Hey, have you gone to the grocery store lately? I wish she would have said, people don't believe what you're selling. Now, having said that, I want to talk to you. I want to go into this article by E.J. Antoni from the Heritage Foundation. He's an economist. All right. But before I do want to talk to you about wealth protection research, because you're going to need to protect your wealth. At the very heart of our democracy lies a principle that we hold sacred, and that is free speech. It's the cornerstone that supports every freedom that we cherish. Yet in today's digital age, discussions about our wealth, our rights, and our future are being silenced or overshadowed in mainstream narratives, leaving many feeling voiceless in conversations that are crucial to our financial independence and our security. This is where wealth protection research steps in. They're armed with a mission that's never been more critical. Wealth Protection Research is not a financial advisory firm. They are defenders of free speech. They're committed to giving a voice to the silence. Wealth Protection Research tirelessly seeks out financial experts. These are the voices that challenge prevailing narratives, especially as we navigate the uncertainties of the 2024 election and have to listen to Janet Yellen lie. That's me throwing that in. But Wealth Protection Research has created a 2024 election wealth protection report. This free report highlights the 3 best ideas for protecting and growing your money heading into the 2024 election. It contains ideas the mainstream media won't touch, and listeners get it completely free. All you have to do is text the word ideas to 76626 to claim your free copy. Again, text the word ideas to 76626. If you believe in the sanctity of free speech and the importance of financial freedom, you can act now. Text the word ideas, IDEAS, to 76626 to claim your free copy of this 2024 election protection report. It's time to widen the scope of what we're told, to hear the ideas the establishment does not think you can handle, and to take control of our financial destinies. Text the word ideas to 76626 to claim your free copy. Plus, if you text the word ideas today, you'll also get a free gold investment kit from Wealth Protection Research, sponsored by Augusta Precious Metals. And also, don't forget to take advantage of the $25 extravaganza deal from MyPillow.com. Mike Lindell at MyPillow.com. Obviously, he's been canceled by the big box stores, some of these shopping channels, but he's passing these savings on to you. American jobs, American manufacturing at MyPillow.com. Again, you can get the sandals. They've got the My Pillow with the Giza fabric for only $25. They've got towel sets for $25. Peruse the website, $25 extravaganza. Check them out, mypillow.com, promo code Carl, C-A-R-L. Don't spell it like the communists, or give them a call at 800-858-0263 to take advantage of the deals. Okay, so these people are lying to you right in front of your face. Unfortunately, we didn't have the full clip of Janet Yellen blaming Trump. But you have Karine Jean-Pierre just lying through her teeth about the economy and gas prices going down. Now, here's another article, this by E.J. Antoni of the Heritage Foundation, and it's entitled "Why We're Adding Far Fewer Jobs Than the White House Claims." So the Biden administration will often brag about job growth as if the economy is in great shape. But we all feel like we're in a recession. And the truth is, we have experienced a recession under the Biden administration. That it's just 2 consecutive quarters of economic decline. We experienced that. But the left was able to just blow by it. But anyway, here's what he writes. New data from the Federal Reserve Bank of Philadelphia throws cold water on the claims, however, that the economy and job growth is good, is what he's saying. It shows that recent job growth has been 80% less than previously estimated. All right, so each month, the Bureau of Labor Statistics produces an estimate for the number of payrolls that businesses added, all right? Or subtracted on net balance, right? So according to those reports, annualized job growth in the last quarter of 2023 was a healthy 1.6%, which I don't think is necessarily healthy, but it was 1.6%, all right? But he says that's likely way off. Why? The Philadelphia Fed, he says, takes these data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics and compares them with a much more comprehensive estimate of the labor market each quarter. All right. So he said that allows for better estimates of job growth than can be gleaned from the monthly BLS reports. So he says instead of 1.6% growth rate previously estimated, the analysis from the Philadelphia Fed showed an anemic 0.3% annualized rate. So basically 1.3%, it doesn't sound like much until you realize in a country of more than 330 million people and more than 150 million jobs on businesses' payrolls, this amounts to 500,000 jobs. So here's what he's saying. And he writes, in other words, more than 500,000 jobs that were supposedly added to the economy in the last quarter of 2023 never even existed. These people are just gaslighting us at every freaking turn. Even more troubling, he writes, the previous two quarterly reports from the Philadelphia Fed also pointed to overestimation of payroll growth by the monthly jobs report. And obviously, this all adds up to a labor market that is less healthy than is what's being reported. And then consider this, the consumer price index. Now that measures inflation. It measures the cost of living. So the consumer price index no longer reflects the costs that are faced by typical Americans today, he writes. For example, the monthly mortgage payment on a median price home in May was up. How much do you think? How much have you heard? I even heard a more moderate type leaning station say 22, 25, 26%. And you'll read those numbers because that's what the White House reports. No, mortgages are up 119.5% since Joe Biden took office. 120%. That's what you call, I mean, just Xing people out of the American dream, just canceling their dream. I mean, this is absolutely insane to me. He says when jobs are being overestimated and the cost of living underestimated, it's no wonder people have soured on Bidenomics. And that's true. A family will pay almost $14,000 more each year for 30 years to afford the same house that they could afford in January of 2021. So this is what the Biden administration is doing, is gaslighting us. All right. Now, just real quick, and let me make sure, because again, just for those of you that are listening in, we're posting on, it is June 25th, 2024, second podcast this night, this evening, because I'm going to be consumed with getting ready for the presidential debate. All right. Wait a minute. Do I see it? Squashed in Empire State. New York says bye-bye Bowman. Yes. Bowman loses. Praise God. AOC backed Hamas sympathizer Congressman loses in the most expensive House primary in U.S. history. Yes. Thank you, Jesus. All right. People are fed up with this crap. They're fed up with the anti-Semitism. They're fed up with the racism. They're tired of clowns representing us in Congress. That was the guy that pulled the fire. You know, what is it called? The emergency fire thing. He's out. Yes. Thank you, Jesus. All right. Now, speaking of being out, let me just let me talk to you about Minnewosa. All right, Minnewosa. All right, this was a fabulous column, very interesting column from AMAC, a guy by the name of Barry Castleman that I want to go through real quickly here. Man, that is astounding news. Congressional report, CIA colluded with Biden campaign to interfere in the 2020 election. I think we knew that. Vote Friday holding AG Garland in inherent contempt. DOJ is not above the law. We'll see what happens there. Right now, I'm looking at Breitbart. I absolutely love this. Man, that is such great news. That is such great news. Okay, now, all right. So there's a gentleman that invented the term. I believe it's the columnist Barry Castleman invented this term, Minnewasowa. All right, so Minnewasowa stands for Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Iowa. He did this in 2004 in an op-ed that he wrote for the Washington Times. At the time, he said that he didn't anticipate the kind of unconventional politics which would erupt in the U.S. just 20 years later. There's a demographic similarities, or there are demographic similarities between Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Iowa. So essentially, that meant that they would vote alike pretty much in the presidential election. And so far, and become what he calls a de facto electoral superstate. And he said that is true. It held up in 2008. It held up in 2012. It almost held up in 2016 and 2020. Because of the demographic similarities, these states vote largely the same. Now, these three states, again, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Iowa, will likely be a bellwether for the outcome of the election. These are swing states. Now, Trump will likely carry Iowa by double digits. He did so. I'm not sure if it was by double digits, but he did win handily both in 2016 and 2020. And again, now the polls, at least if you believe them today, and if they remain true, then he'll win Iowa by double. He'll win Iowa by double digits. Now, keep this in mind. Barack Obama won Iowa, I believe, twice. All right, so it's pretty astonishing where we are. So Trump carried Wisconsin in 2020. Biden carried in 2022, or in 2020, I'm sorry. In 2024, Trump has consistently led Biden by a few points, and he's expected to win Wisconsin by a small margin. Again, we're a long ways away, but I hope that's true. They say, unlike Iowa, Wisconsin has a very large urban and metro area that has become increasingly liberal progressive. And because of that, it offsets a lot of the outstate or rural and outstate voters, as he says. But he says this state also has a very competitive U.S. Senate race that we need to be concerned about as well. So hopefully Trump will be able to bring people out to vote for that Senate race as well. Now, Minnesota has voted Democrat since 1972. Trump came close to winning it in 2016. He didn't come anywhere near it in 2020. And I suspect that has a lot to do with the George Floyd riots during that period of time and the COVID lockdowns that we were undergoing at that period of time. However, recent polls have Trump in a narrow lead over Biden in Minnesota. And this is why the left is panicking too. They're getting worrisome because, again, the left has a machine, but honestly, if people aren't motivated to show up to the polls, that's hard to overcome, and that's why we have to show up, right? So if Trump does win Minnesota's 10 electoral votes this year, the author writes, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Iowa will cast a combined 26 electoral votes. And that would be the bellwether of a possible landslide. I don't like saying that, but electoral college landslide, actually. Not a popular vote landslide, but meaning if Trump wins enough states, he'll get over the 270, and it could possibly be an electoral college landslide. And I really think we need that, to be frank with you. It says, like Wisconsin, Minnesota has a very large urban center, all right, in the Twin Cities of St. Paul and Minneapolis, which in recent years have voted increasingly to the progressive left. This has more than compensated for a major shift in the working class voters in the Northeast. I do wonder if people are going to come out, though. Minnesota from liberal left to the conservative right. All right. Voters in Northeast Minnesota from liberal left to the conservative right. They say the key to Donald Trump's resurgent voter strength in Minnesota, however, is much the same as it is throughout the several battleground states elsewhere in the U.S., and that is conservative voter enthusiasm to end the current progressive policies under the Biden administration. So this is fascinating. If you think of Minnesota, you think of St. Paul. Those places have become a disaster, especially after COVID lockdowns, the riots. They have bad leadership there in those places, but these policies are waking people up. Biden's disastrous policies on climate control regulations, the cultural Marxism known as wokeism, open borders, high taxes, weakening national defense. All of this is playing against the Biden administration. So they say the energy motivating Democrats, on the other hand, seems primarily to come from antipathy to Trump. And this is why I said Trump can do himself a huge service on this debate. By being more just decent. They believe that abortion is playing an issue as well. And quite frankly, I think this is insane that women all the only thing women are voting for is, hey, I want to spread my legs. And when I do, I want to be irresponsible. I mean, it's just so sad that so many so-called women are like that, but they are. But anyway, so these are very important states: Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Iowa. Trump is doing better in Minnesota in the polling. And guys, I think things are going to get worse. I think crime is going to get worse. I think inflation is going to get worse. So this guy could pull off something. It's quite possible that he could pull off something. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but it's quite possible that we could see a shocker in a place like Minnesota. All right, real quick before I close it out with this U.S. Supreme Court stuff. I want to talk to you about priority gold because Lord knows that the Biden administration is trying to make you broke as a joke. So economists warn that massive tax hikes could devastate your IRA and your 401k as the stock market braces for impact with inflation on the rise and global uncertainty looming. It's clear why central banks and savvy Americans are turning to gold in times like this. Proverbs 21:20 reminds us to preserve what we built. Right now, that wisdom points us towards gold. If you haven't had your eye on gold, time to make it a priority. All right, I'm Carl Jackson, and I urge you to call my friends at Priority Gold to find out how they can help you diversify your savings with physical gold and silver. Call 1-800-405-GOLD or visit PriorityGold.com/golden for a free gold info guide. Plus, see if you qualify for free shipping and storage. Act now to get your portfolio working for you while the market is golden. All right, so call 1-800-405-GOLD. All right, to speak with a gold specialist or visit PriorityGold.com/golden to learn more. That's 1-800-405-GOLD. All right, just real quick, some of the Supreme Court cases that we have to look forward to. This is a big one. Federal agency power. This is a really, really important case. The Supreme Court will rule on a 40-year doctrine known as the Chevron doctrine. The precedent dictates the courts should defer to executive branch agencies' expertise when it comes to interpreting laws when Congress's intent in passing the law is unclear. So, for instance, you have, I don't know if it was the EPA, I forget which it was, but anyway, there are fishermen literally, it is the EPA. Under the 1984 doctrine, U.S. courts gave great leeway to agencies such as the EPA and the Securities Exchange Commission regarding the powers delegated to them by Congress to administer the law. So here's what happened. And I remember interviewing the lawyer. Two small fishing companies challenged the precedent, claiming that paying for a monitor on a herring boat required the National Marine Fisheries Service amounted to onerous regulation. As the case illustrates, the ruling will affect not only the EPA and the Securities Exchange Commission, Securities Exchange and Exchange Commission, but also other federal agencies, lots of other federal agencies as well. So if you guys don't remember the story, basically the EPA was going on to these fishermen's boats, I guess they're called herring boats, and they stopped paying for it for whatever reason, and they demanded that the fishermen pay for to be monitored by government employees. So the people that own the fishermen's boats had to pay for the federal employee to be on their boat instead of paying for a fisherman to be on the boat where they could bring in more money. Just absolutely insane. So this was a rule that the EPA made up, and the EPA and none of these bureaucracies should have this type of power. They should not have it. That's why it should be an executive branch, legislative branch, and a judicial branch, and it's we the people. These bureaucracies shouldn't be getting in the middle of this stuff and getting in between us. That's exactly what the left wants, and unfortunately, many Republicans too. The Trump immunity case, obviously, that's going to be huge, right? Another case that's going to likely be ruled on this week involves former President Trump, who argued that he should be declared immune for his activity after the 2020 election. A deal with what he described as election fraud. Special counsel Jack Smith last year charged the former president with conspiracy to subvert the 2020 election, and the former president has appealed the case to the high court. So several justices offered warnings that all future former presidents could be prosecuted by their successors if immunity is not upheld. However, some justices appeared skeptical of Trump's attorney's arguments. that he should be fully immune from prosecution. And the more that I think about it, I was like, of course he should, because it's going to really determine or dictate how a president shouldn't be scared to be president, right? If we've got to go strike Iran or something like that, I'm just saying that for, you know what I'm saying? And the president makes a decision, is he going to come back and be prosecuted? But obviously, if a president commits some type of salacious crime in office, or some type of crazy, murder, or has somebody, you know what I'm saying? Obviously they should be prosecuted. So there shouldn't be full immunity, but I'm not sure exactly where the line should be. Those people figure it out. The third case, social media contacts. In another case, the court will have to decide whether federal government officials should be broadly prohibited from communicating with social media companies responding to lawsuits by 2 state attorneys general alleging that the federal government violated people's First Amendment rights by asking social media companies to take down content that it claimed was false or misleading. Yeah, the federal government shouldn't be able to do that. I mean, I'm sorry. That's a pretty simple one. In my opinion, if you think there's misinformation out there, do more research, read. Abortion, although the Supreme Court, this is number 4, already ruled on a challenge to the FDA, Food and Drug Administration's approval of an abortion-related drug, the High Court is set to release an order on whether emergency rooms in Idaho can perform abortions on pregnant women during what is prescribed as an emergency. So under the 2022 Idaho Defense of Life Act, abortion is banned under all circumstances unless it is, quote, necessary to prevent the death of the pregnant woman. All right. So that's going to be interesting. All right. The Biden administration challenged the mandate, saying it conflicts with a federal law, the Emergency Medical Treatment and Labor Act, which mandates that emergency room doctors stabilize patients. That's interesting. All right, other social media issues. Another one, laws in Texas and Florida that regulate bans on social media will also be decided during the Supreme Court's term. That's interesting. Those laws bar social media companies from taking down or demoting user content that expresses certain views. Coming in the wake of allegations that social media companies were targeting conservatives for censorship or deplatforming. That'll be interesting. All right. And then lastly, January 6th obstruction clause. So SCOTUS will rule on an obstruction statute that may affect the Department of Justice's prosecution of people who entered the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. One person who was charged, Joseph Fisher, filed a lawsuit that challenged the statute, which makes it a crime if an individual corruptly obstructs, influences, or impedes an official proceeding. All right. So that's going to be interesting. That's one to watch out for. So in April, a number of justices were skeptical of how the statute was being applied in Mr. Fisher's case. Attorney General Merrick Garland this month suggested in a congressional hearing, that he would be prepared to drop cases for J6 defendants who were charged under that statute. But maybe the judges will sentence them to something else. That's part of the concern. Anyway, so some very interesting cases coming up. All right, guys, it's going to be an exciting couple of days. The debates are coming up. I think if Trump shows that not only he's a policy guy, but he's a decent guy, let more people see that, speak to the audience, the people that are undecided, and turn them, laugh, have some fun, but know his stuff. You know what I mean? I think that'll be very powerful. I think it'll be very potent. Appreciate you guys tuning in to this edition of the Carl Jackson Show. Until next time, don't grow weary doing good. God bless you.